Um,
Hey, y'all. Hey, I'm so excited. Let me make sure that we are running on all the things. If you're on LinkedIn, well, if you can hear this and you're on LinkedIn, you might have to refresh the screen. LinkedIn is weird with comments. So if you make a comment and you don't see a response, we'll get to it as soon as we can. Sometimes there's a delay. So I am so excited that we are here with the amazing Delitra Hudson. And for those of you who have not been graced with someone that is a wealth of information, she is that person for me. So I didn't know the opportunities that are for us out there in the world. And if we don't know, we can't go after them. We don't know their thing. So I would love to just bring Delitra to the platform so we can get an understanding. If you can tell us about you, Delitra, how you got here, and some of the things we're going to talk about today, which every business owner needs to know about. You need a Delitra in your life, period.
awesome. Oh my goodness, that is so heartfelt. Thank you so much, Bethany, for inviting me to be here today. I'm super excited about this opportunity. A brief introduction. I am Delitra Hudson, owner of Delitra Hudson LLC, financial consulting firm based in St. Louis, Missouri, where we work to bridge the gap between local businesses, local government, and small businesses to connect you with free money opportunities. Yes, I said free. We'll learn a little bit more about that as we continue our conversation. But what brought me to this journey is I've had over 25 years of government experience working with government finance, 30 years in the financial industry, but in the pinnacle of my career with working with local governments, I was a city manager. And I had so many local small businesses and frankly, African American led small businesses who came before me looking for opportunities to work with the government and was not prepared financially. Their structure wasn't set up right. So we'll talk about some of those things, but it doesn't matter what type of business you have. We need to remember that government is business also, and our biggest community partners can be our local government. So that's what I'm excited to give some secrets about on how to work with the government.
Okay, so what do people need to know when it comes? What is government funding? I guess when I hear funding, I always think about grants, but this isn't a grant, right? What is government
Correct.
funding? What is this?
So there are different types of government funding. Typically, just like you, when people hear about government funding, the first thing they think about is federal government. They think about federal contracts. They think about grants. They think about all of those types of things. They think about having to register with sam.gov and having a DUNS number. They think about the stress of certification and all of the things that are wrapped up with that, you know?
Mhm.
And when we talk about what we're going to focus on and what my level of expertise is the grace and ease of working with local government because a lot of those things aren't required. So, government funding could be as easy as creating a partnership, what I like to call a win win relationship, where you are providing a service that the local government needs, and the local government is using you as a business or a contractor to get this service or product from you, and they don't have to hire somebody to do it. So, local government money can be as simple as a one time contract, or what I like to promote is a contract, an engagement, a relationship that consistently brings your money recurring revenue.
Okay. So I can be product based, I can be service based, I
Yes,
can have something that is valuable and worthwhile to be sold to my local government. I
yes,
don't got to mess with all the sam.gov and WOSB and all the acronyms,
yes,
UIDs, whatever the things are, to
yes,
potentially be able to benefit from this.
that's correct.
Okay.
The best thing that I would recommend that you have is a relationship. Know who to talk to, know what to say, and be able to come up with a proposal and create your pricing that makes it attractive enough for them um, to not say no.
Okay. But if you don't have relationships, where do you start to get relationships?
Well, and that's some of the things that I teach in my programs. I teach people how to start to develop those relationships, um, and be able to. I'm trying to say some things without getting too much into some
Yeah.
content that I'm going to be sharing
Yeah.
in my webinars that I'm going to start kicking up in the programs. But just to start the relationships, be visible in your community, know who your community leaders are.
Mm.
Even if you go to the website, one of the things that I encourage people to do is go to one of your public meetings. See how these people act in public. That's the first thing. You'll be surprised. They may say one thing to get your vote, but they perform a totally different way when it comes to handling that city or village's business. So
Mm.
make sure that you check them out in person and in action. Go to one of the public meetings,
Yeah.
and afterwards introduce yourself, or something like that. Let them know who you are and that you're a business owner in the community and you're interested um, in seeing how you can make a greater impact. Make it sound like a win-win relationship. How can I help impact? How can you use me?
Okay. So, what do you think are
Yeah.
some of the myths that people, what are the myths around government funding?
The mix or some of the things we talked about before, that you have to, that is only federal contracts, or that it's only grants, or that you have to be registered with sam.gov or have a DUNS number. They don't call it a DUNS number anymore, do they? Or do they still call it a
Yeah, they
DUNS?
do. This
Okay,
still, it's
okay.
still a thing.
So all of the formalities that we initially think of are not necessarily everything that you need to tap into local government money. It could be as simple as creating a contract, a proposal and a contract, and start making money.
Mm. Okay. So what do you see are some of the mistakes that people make when they know they want to, they can possibly get government money, government funding. They might identify who some of the people are, maybe, but what are some of the mistakes that you see them make when it comes to government funding?
The mistakes are that some businesses may call themselves a business, but their business structure is not properly set up. Um, they may be commingling their personal and business funds.
Mm.
If I wanted to, I've had situations, and you probably will not believe this, but I've had encounters with small businesses who were not, I wanted to give them a check. Believe me, I wanted to give them a check, but I couldn't, because either their bank structure wasn't correct, or they weren't properly registered with the state to operate, whether they could not complete a W-9 form, or didn't know if they were using their tax ID or social security number to operate. So being able to understand and properly have your business structure set up and ready to receive money, those are probably the two top things that I would prepare people for, but they are real life mistakes that business owners, especially small business owners, make.
I mean, the challenge, I think, and I don't think it's just me. I think the challenge is many of us, sometimes we're in a family where we're the first of whatever, the first to go to college, the first to start a business. There's no
Mhm.
manual. And a lot of us started it because we had an idea. We
Yeah,
Googled, should I be an LLC or a corporation? And then we
yeah,
might have been an LLC, but then we didn't know we had to file a tax form to say we're going to file as an S. Like all these things.
yeah,
There's so much information. It's so overwhelming, but there's not a manual. Just like parenting. If you had a manual, like here's how you
yeah.
be a good parent. There's books and there's things and there's guides and there's blogs everywhere. But some of those things, Delitra, I don't know if people are taught to do.
I agree. I agree. And one of the things that I used to do as a city manager is I would help guide people through that process. Because I was also like the final step in reviewing RFPs, which are requests for proposals, when we would ask people to submit a proposal for a particular job. I was the final decision maker before we took it to the board for approval. And I would really try to work with businesses and make sure before they even submit their proposal, come talk to me. Ask me questions about things in this document that you don't know. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And one of the things I would also make sure of was that, tell me, can you complete this work? This is what we're looking to have done. Do you have money to get the project started? Oh my goodness. That was another thing. Especially when we had like big jobs such as demolition contractors
Mm-hmm.
or contractors to come in for hauling services. I can't advance you money to get equipment to operate what you call is your business. At least have the things in place if you want to submit a proposal, or don't submit the proposal unless you just want to practice, because those will be huge red flags that will prevent you from getting the contract.
Well, I'm pretty sure that as a city manager, you were the exception, not the norm, because anytime I think of city workers, you have more work than you have time. You're
Yeah,
not paid the most money,
yeah,
and the amount of help that people need is unlimited. So many
yeah,
city managers are like, no, I can't do this, and I can't tell you why I can't do this, but you're not ready, and then leave me
yeah,
alone because I'm busy. So I think that's
yes,
also a challenge that many of us might have experienced, where we go through the effort as a small business. Some of these
yeah,
RFPs, Delitra, are a lift, like it's heavy,
yes,
it's a lot,
yes,
and then to just not get it after you
yeah,
spent like weeks and weeks, and if that's not your norm, or you don't have an RFP writer, or you don't have somebody helping you, and you're wearing all the hats,
yeah,
it's not easy. So
yeah.
for to go through that process without help is
Hmm.
probably why a lot of people just don't do it, because it's too
Yeah.
much.
And a lot of people don't. There, I have an RFP out right now that's been out since July. We have not gotten one response. Um, and it is, and I've gone back and I've talked to our attorneys who actually drafted it, and I kind of went through and because I play different roles with some of these municipalities. On some, I'm on the administrative side. On the majority, I'm on the finance side. But when I went back and looked at it, and then I will shoot it to um, people who I know are in the industry and get their feedback on it. Hey, why is nobody responding to this thing? And just this past week, I got feedback from one of a resource that gave me a list of things about why she thought nobody was responding to the
Mm,
RFP. So I sent it to the attorney. Hey, these are some things that we may want to look at. Here's some feedback that I got. These may be some things to tweak. And believe it or not, the RFPs are written in a more intimidating fashion than what your response needs to be.
mm,
There's probably more pages and words that are presented in the RFP. And what we really want is, tell us, can you do it? How you would do it? How much you would charge us to do it? And if you have protection or you insured to do the work
yeah,
that you say you're going to do with us, so that we don't get liable for your work.
yeah.
That is the bulk of what we want back from you after reading all those pages.
And it's a lot, Delitra, because if this is your world and you're
Hmm.
you're on the other side of the RFP, so you know, and I think what people need to understand is all of those pages and all of those things that go with the RFP are because of people that came before us and did dirty or didn't do what they were
Yeah,
supposed to do. So they're in
that's
place
right.
as a precaution and as a
Yes.
safeguard that the city doesn't get screwed over or the local government doesn't get screwed over, because there was many cities had some rounds of corruption, had
Yes.
some grease in the palms, or like bribes and payoffs. So you can thank people that came before us for the work that we have to do right now. And
That's correct.
depending on your city, if you're in Chicago or Atlanta or Detroit, it's a lot. There's a lot of papers.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that you have to
Absolutely.
do, but they're not meant to discourage us and like not
Correct.
have a supply. But I think, and the other thing that I think we need to consider is we can now get access to information faster than we've ever been able to get access before. So even before you bid on an RFP, you have to see if it's a good fit for you. Because sometimes
Yes.
we romanticize and like, oh, it's a $300,000 contract. And we're visualizing, I can get my new computer, I can hire the team member. But if we can't fulfill, we have no right bidding. We're not ready.
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. And also, from the government perspective, we want to find a good contractor, because the next time a similar job rolls around, or another municipality is looking for referrals or requests, we want to be able to say, here, try this person. We did business with them. They're responsible, they're responsive, and they are reasonable and honest in their business activities. So when we do another RFP, just like I just shared with you, the fact that I could reach out to somebody and send them an RFP and ask them to review and see if they want to respond. We want to build a Rolodex of
Mm.
preferred vendors that we could just shoot these things to, and know that they could possibly be the ones to do the job. We would prefer to work with people that we know, and then that just helps with the relationship building aspect, to continuously have you as a vendor for us, and you know that this we are a revenue provider for you.
Right. Yeah. And I think, and some of these things, like thinking about the demolition guy, like we got insurance when we had to
Hmm.
because it was a
Hmm.
contract requirement. I didn't get it before then.
Yeah.
'Cause in my
Yeah.
mind, I know how expensive personal insurance is. I was like, woo, business is going to be so
Yeah.
much worse. It was
Yeah.
affordable, but I didn't know because I had
Yeah.
never gotten business insurance before. So I think there's just so much that we don't know.
Yeah.
um and I get emails all the time. So the contract that you mentioned that no one has been on since July, I get emails that I'm DBE certified. So for those of you who don't know, the Department of Transportation in each state has a disadvantaged business enterprise, heavily for construction. So there's a lot of Department of Transportation does a lot of construction. But I was doing business with the airport, and they also recognize DBE. Well, I
Hmm.
constantly get emails about estimating and construction, which has nothing to do with me. But then I also get
Hmm.
emails from airports about disparity studies and why aren't I bidding? Why aren't I
Yeah.
showing up? Because I'm certified. So I went through the effort of being certified, but then I don't show up. And I think
Yeah.
it's almost like I have RFP PTSD. So I've done so many RFPs and put so much blood, sweat, and
Yeah.
tears that the risk wasn't worth the reward.
Yeah. Yeah. And and some of that is, and let's take the conversation back to grace and ease with getting this money. Not all of it comes from RFPs. Sometimes what I would encourage people to do, especially, we're at a time now in the United States where, um, a lot of this American Rescue Plan Act money, or known as ARPA money, is coming to a wind down.
Mm.
And many of the municipalities who have received that money have until December 31st, 2024 to obligate the money, not spend the money, but obligate the money, which means they need to get in contract with, providers for services, for goods, for projects, whatever the case may be. So I would encourage the viewers to tap into your local municipalities and see what they're doing with the ARPA money. Do they have any ARPA money left that they still need to spend? That may be free money without an RFP. Um, if
Mm,
you are a service provider like I am a service provider where I provide financial management services to small local governments. So I step into small local governments and become their finance department on the go. I do this in my market is African American led municipalities who have $100 million or less in revenue, and they are in urban areas. So that is around, that's across the United States. That's my client base. Why is that my client base? Because I have learned through my years of experience that those are the communities that I relate to, and they are financially distressed. And
mm,
many of them do not have staffing in place who, one, they don't have staffing in place, or they don't have staffing who is capable of making sure that they are meeting their statutory requirements for finances. So I step in and assist or perform those duties for them. And all of my government contracts are recurring. I never worry about each month having to reinvent that money because I never enter into a contract that is less than 3 years. So
mm.
that is making sure that that's an example of getting and building relationships without an RFP. How did I do it? When I first started my business, I sent proposals like crazy to every municipality that I knew of that fit that bill. And then I would start getting on the phone, following up with them. And because I was in government, more people knew about me and the work that I had done versus me knowing them. So I was getting a lot of referrals. 100% of my government contracts has come from referrals. Either it is someone who knew me before or someone who knew of the work that I've done. I'm to the point now in business that I have to have a team because I can't do the work. I'm getting more business asked of me than I can perform to do. So I'm telling my story because I don't want people listening to be discouraged about the thought of an RFP as the way to get the money. Um, I want people to remember your expertise and present it because it's more than likely needed. If you offer products such as a graphic design business or a t-shirt business or um, um, you could be a transcriber. The government needs all of these types of services, and there are regular things that we need. We do minutes and meetings all the time. We have courts, so we need transcribers in certain aspects. We need graphic designers. Everything has our government logo on it, from the ink pens to the car decals. So all of those things are needed. So I'm sharing these categories because I also want viewers to step out of the box and think about, is my service or product needed? Am I a good fit? Government is business.
Right.
So
So
I hope
tell
that
me,
helps.
it does. It does. So tell me how you help businesses make thousands of dollars of recurring revenue. Because when you said, let's talk about ease and grace and that you don't have to
Yes.
worry from month to month, you are 100% the exception. So the
Yes.
norm for many business owners is we hustle, we sell, we deliver, we got to hustle again and sell, and we
Hmm.
reset whether it's every
Hmm.
month.
Hmm.
So, how do you help people? Because I don't think I've associated making money in my business with the terms ease and grace?
Yeah, so it's it's a hustle to get there, but once you can get there, that's where the grace and ease comes in. So what I've done, and I want to share, just for an example, I took well, I took a conversation that I had with one business owner. It was like a 10-minute conversation. She was in her car, I was in my car. She texted me and asked me, "Can we chat?" We're not in the same states. And so we were chatting, and I knew her. Um, she took our 10-minute phone conversation, did what I advised her to do, and turned it into $10,000 within a week of our conversation. So the money is there. I teach a course, and I wrapped up a cohort of a new program that I created. And in that last cohort, we had about 7 participants in that cohort. And in that 8 week, we did 10 weeks because I gave them a bonus, 2 bonus weeks, because there was something extra that I wanted to teach them. And during that time of that cohort, we made over $100,000 collectively in government contracts. So the techniques and the tips that I teach people on what to do, if you execute those things, then the funds are out there for you to get. It's just a matter of, one, we have to shift our mindset to understand that, one, we can go out and get the money. Two, we need to learn how to build the relationships and who to talk to. And
Mm.
then three, be confident in the products and services that we provide, and be ready to provide it on a larger scale, whether that is um, your expertise to a group, training or performing services, or your products on a scale bigger than one t-shirt or a shirt to hundreds of t-shirts and shirts. And that's just on a local municipality level. We're not talking about county or state, because the money gets bigger the more elevated you come with your working relationships with government.
Okay. Okay. So these all sound doable. So I feel like when you explain it, it doesn't sound hard, but most of us have this experience that probably wasn't the easiest.
Yes. Yeah.
So what do we need to do to get more funding in our business? And then you mentioned you have a webinar coming up. How can we learn more from all the knowledge that you have? And I assume that you created your course so you could scale your time and have a greater impact. So I'm super excited that it sounds like it's a
Yes.
mix of a course and support and accountability. So I like that it
Yes.
sounds like I'm not going to go out on my own. You're not going to give me some stuff. I'm going to go out on my
Hmm.
own and struggle and just be like, see,
No.
this is exactly what happened before. So how is this
No.
different? And how do you help us accomplish this?
I help you by first bringing you into my webinar, because what I understand is that there is a lot that you might not understand about government. So we go through an education process through our webinar, and I also help you get connected to shifting that mindset and getting things in order by leaving the webinar and joining the program, where we walk hand in hand. I'm there with you the entire time. And like with the last cohort, I did the work with them. So some of that 100,000 I helped contribute to, because I got contracts with them as we were walking through the process. So we don't want to leave you stranded or feeling overwhelmed. If you need one-on-one time during the time that we're working together, you got it with me. You have the community. The best thing that I like is that there's a community that gets built from the people who are working together in these cohorts. Not only do you become an additional resource for one another and learn to build business with one another, but you also develop a pattern of learning how to partnership and go after funds together. So that's so awesome. So you're never alone when we're working together. We will not be one of those programs where I overload you with information. And yeah, you're going to get overloaded with information, but I'm not going to leave you struggling to try and figure it out. We're there with you the entire time. And afterwards, that's the super thing. We, after the program is over, we continue the support and put you in a community with other people who have gone through the program that can also support. So I'm excited. If you can't tell, we have a webinar tonight, and I'm all geared up for tonight's webinar, so that we can make sure that we are touching and making impact throughout the communities that we live, work, and have our businesses in. And that's the overall goal and purpose for what it is that we do as entrepreneurs.
Okay, so there's a webinar tonight, and
Yes.
where can they find the information on the webinar? Do you have a link that you can
Yes, we
drop?
have a link.
Okay.
Yes, let me see if I can drop a link here while we're chatting so that we can make sure that people can have that information as we go along. Definitely.
If you can drop it in the chat, then yeah, I think you should be able, Delitra, you should be able to post it in the chat on the side of the screen. And then I'll make sure that it's on the other channels that we're streaming, because I think we're on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and all the things. So do they need to register for this, or this is the link just to join?
This is the link to register. It should be a register link.
Let me double check. It looks like it's a.
If not, if it's a join, just join, and we'll go from there.
It is.
We'll yep.
Webinar 1.
We'll
Get
track
free
it.
money. Get free money.
That's
okay,
it.
so I'm gonna. It's pretty clear. Okay, so let me post. This is register for the webinar. So you have one tonight. So if people see this on the replays, they should still go here to register.
We have one tonight. We'll probably have a different link for the following Tuesday. We'll have one on October 1st.
Okay.
And both nights they start 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Central, Eastern time. And I would say, so that you can plan for about 45 minutes for the webinar. Again, we do some education because we want you to be prepared for the program. When you decide to join the program, that you will know what the lingo is and have an understanding about the different levels of government and which one we're focusing on.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it. We're a little bit over time, so we don't want to keep you guys. I know it's lunchtime for some of you, it's breakfast for others, and it's nighttime for others. So thank you so much, Delitra, for being here. Your wealth of information. I hope people got value from this and they now understand what's possible. If anyone is watching this on the replay, make sure you tag Delitra, because in LinkedIn land, LinkedIn lives like disappear. I don't know where they go, but if you're watching it and we don't see any questions that happen after the fact. So just make sure if you're trying to connect with Delitra or you have questions, you have to do @ and start to spell Delitra, Deletra, Hudson. And then you can make sure that she has questions. But I'm sure you can reach out to her on LinkedIn as well. She's also on Facebook and all the things. So you can find her out in the social media streets. But please, please, please educate yourself so you understand what the opportunity is, especially y'all, some of that ARPA money will be gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. And it was distributed weird. So there might be an opportunity for you to get something and you didn't think it was possible. Yes. Reach out to your local county government, your local government, and say, hey, I'm a small business owner. I do this thing. Who manages the ARPA money? Well, maybe don't do that. Don't listen to me. Because
it's as simple as that.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. Do you have any more of it?
Yeah. How can I get me some of the ARPA money?
Yeah,
So definitely check it
absolutely.
out, see what the opportunity is, and just know that it takes patience and persistence. But you just
Hmm.
heard that Delitra got her students and her members of her community $100,000, and that was in 8 weeks. So
Yeah.
imagine, and that's with a small subset of people. Imagine what the
Yep.
opportunity could be. This would be an opportunity for you to have someone focused on nurturing these relationships, on finding the opportunities, on submitting the RFPs and doing all the things, but it could be so worth it. If you miss the part
Yes.
that Alitra said, how revenue comes in with ease and grace, and she doesn't have to worry about it because she signs 3-year contracts for revenue.
At least.
So at least,
At
I was
least.
just thinking,
Yeah.
look at all the opportunities that as business owners, you're trying to convince someone that it might take 3 months, it might take 6 months. And they're like, oh, 3 months, 6 months. And these organizations and government agencies, that's their norm. Their norm is 1 year,
Hmm.
3 year, 5 year, 3 year with the 1 year extension. That's how they operate. It's a
Yep.
process. It takes time, it takes resources to go through and find you. So they don't want to do that a lot. So make it easy
Yes.
and
Yeah.
show up with the services that you deliver, and always deliver in excellence, because
Yes.
how we show up reflects how all of us look. So do your best. Thank you so much, Alitra. It's so great to have you here, and I cannot wait to see what happens with your next cohort.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bethany. It was my pleasure, and I truly appreciate it and look forward to next time.
You're welcome. All right, take care.
All right. Bye bye.